everyone, as we gallop towards 2024, where has the year gone? I thought I would sit down and do my annual video where I react to my goals that I set at the beginning of the year, and then I set myself new ones for the new year. Now, as always, I will insert clips of me setting my goals and then I will react to those, and then at the end of the video I will set myself my new goals for 2024. I'm going to link below my previous years of doing this in case you're interested, but yeah, here goes. So my first goal, let's go to the clip. The first one is that I want to make a net profit through my business of £5,000 or more. Now, this goal was ever so slightly complicated by the fact that my business year runs June to May. Obviously, there's the tax year as well. But anyway, I copied my figures for the calendar year into a new spreadsheet. So I didn't know until I did that how I'd got on for the calendar year. Obviously, I've done reporting for 22-23 for my business. Anyway, I did not make £5,000. I made, I'll be open about it, in the region of £2,000. So I'm still pretty pleased that it was a 1,000 number rather than a 100 number or a negative number. Last year, just before I did my goal setting video, I'd announced that I'd broken even. This year, I also took my first dividend payment that I've ever given myself in over 5 years now of this business. So yeah, although I didn't reach the target that I'd set myself, I still feel good that I made some money. I was able to take money from my company to, you know, as a family. That felt really good after a lot of work. And although I didn't reach my target, it feels like still a good number. So I'm not disappointed. No, I didn't make the goal, but I'm still pretty happy with how that went on. My second goal is to increase my productivity. Now, this goal went really well in the first 6-7 months of this year, and then less well after that. The things I was doing to help my productivity really did help, and I will link below. I made a vlog of what I was doing, and the routines that I had were really, really helping. When I talk about productivity, what I mean is creatively producing more and kind of spending my time on the things that like less busy work and more productive work, if that makes sense. Anyway, I definitely found that what I was doing really helped with this, and the first 6 or 7 months I was far more productive. I'll talk about that a little bit more in my next goal that I'll react to. And even when I was quite ill at the beginning of the year, I still got back on with this routine, and it really helped me to focus and prioritize actual writing and stories and that kind of stuff rather than admin, which was what I wanted to do. However, as I've talked about on this channel, things went a little bit nuts around the summer. So very briefly, the summer holidays, kids at home, I did some freelance work that was amazing over the summer, but obviously took up time. And then since September, I've been working on the book that's coming out in February. So I've had a lot of focus on that, as well as spending a lot of time in the classroom as a teacher. So there's been a lot of spinning plates. I think all teachers will tell you that the September term was a busy one. And so getting back into those routines wasn't going to work especially well, because I was just prioritising what had to be done rather than trying to create. I wasn't in that space. But I will definitely use these routines again and get back into that and that productive mindset for next year. Right now, so my contract at my most recent school I was working at finished last week. So this week I've just been enjoying having a full week writing. That hasn't happened in a long time. Catching up with all the things, planning. Yeah, it's been really good. And then I'm going to enjoy Christmas, and then I will get back into it. So those sort of productivity things have not picked up because I have just had so much to do. obviously we can argue I have been very productive, but just not in creating new things or dedicating time to like the creative process, which was really what I was talking about when I was talking about being more productive. Anyway, this feeds into my next goal, so here we go. My third goal is to make progress on my novel. Well, this one I am really happy with. So the novel that I'm talking about is one that I wrote in sort of 2018, 2019. I did a lot of work on it during NaNoWriMo in 18, 19-ish, can't remember exactly. And then didn't really look at it. I had fiddled with it a tiny bit, but only really the beginning of the story, and I'd never sort of fully got into it and worked my way through what I'd written. So I really wanted to do that this year and have a good go through it and make progress. And I really really feel that I did that. So in that first half of the year, every single day, every single one of my writing days, because as I say, I'm in the classroom some days, I really, sat down and spent that time on that book, and I finished a full work through, a full redraft of that manuscript, and that was the main thing that I wanted to achieve. So I'll talk a little bit more about this when I set some goals, but I'm really happy with what I did. Right now I have a full working draft, and I feel like I know what happens in the story. I will rework that, but what was interesting is that it was a lot better than I remembered. My memory was of it really kind of falling apart as as I continued writing, but it wasn't that bad. So yeah, I'm really pleased with having properly gone through the whole thing and spent that time on it. So yeah, I'm happy with the progress I made on my novel. My fourth goal, normally I set like a numerical thing around reading. In fact, I didn't set myself a reading goal last year, but in the past I've said, oh, I'll read 50 books, 60 books, whatever. Last year I had a huge reading slump, and I reassessed and thought what I want to do is whatever time, be it a small amount or a large amount of time that I have to spend reading, I want to read things that are useful. So I want to read lots of business books or things related to my business. So business specifically, or writing or publishing, or things around the topics I write about. So marine biology and early parenting, lots of non-fiction, environmental stuff. If I am reading fiction, then I want it to be things I actively want to read. But specifically, my goal is to read more non-fiction, particularly around my business. I'm pretty happy with the books that I read this year. I think in particular, I felt no pressure to read a certain amount or certain genres or anything really. And I think that not doing the monthly wrap-ups was, really contributed to that. So going forward, that's what I'm going to do, even though I kind of liked the wrap-ups, the monthly ones, in terms of accountability and, helping me to bear in mind that I wanted to read more and make time for that. I think that taking that away and just, reviewing books when I'd read a few, I was ready to sort of take that pressure off. So yeah, I'm glad I did that, and that's how I will continue on this channel. The main point is that it meant that I was choosing books that I had wanted to read for a long time, or that were going to contribute to my knowledge of whether it's business or science or just something I was interested in. I read some really great books that I enjoyed, and moving forward, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, that's the point, is reading things you want to read, right? So yeah, that's how I want that to carry on. But I definitely read some books that were either things I'd wanted to read for a long time in sort of the science world, or things I'd come across that I think were really helpful. I'm trying to think how many business books I read, and it may have only been one or two. But obviously the sciencey stuff feeds into what I do as well. So yeah, overall, just in terms of reading non-fiction and things that benefit my work, that, yeah, I think this went pretty well. Number 5, my health and fitness goal. I want to attempt my second Dan in Shotokan karate. Well, I didn't take my second Dan. However, I mean, obviously, no, I did not achieve this goal, but so this year I really had the intention of taking my second Dan, and I actually contacted my sensei and said, I just want to be open that this is something I would like to do. When I got my first kyu, so the grade before black belt, I kind of went, no, I'll stay here. I'm not going to take my black belt. And then slowly but surely I felt ready. And then I trained really hard for it. It took me 2 attempts, passed on the second one. And so I'm aware of the sort of psychological commitment and the time commitment. Well, this one I didn't achieve. I'm not a second Dan, I'm still a first Dan, and I didn't attempt my second Dan. However, I'm still really happy with how I got on with this goal, because I felt a sort of psychological change in that I was even contemplating going for my second Dan, because when I got my first kyu, so that's the grade before first Dan, before black belt, I intended to just sit there and stay at that grade. I didn't feel any need to take my first Dan, and I was quite scared of it actually. And then I slowly felt ready and it felt achievable, and then I decided to go for it. It was a number of years. I took my first Dan twice and I passed on the second time. And again, I kind of went, yeah, I'm happy here. I've achieved this thing and this will do for me. And I felt I may well stay at first Dan for the rest of my life. I felt like I'd kind of reached a level and I was happy there. I also took a long break in my karate career. So I think just the attitude of, I think I might do this, is really significant. And it meant that in my training this year, I was actually taking it seriously when, you know, sensei was saying to me, you'll need this for your second Dan, that I was like, yeah, I will need this, rather than, that's never going to happen, you know. So it's sort of a different attitude. I think in the back of my mind, I was intending to do the December grading. I never actually scheduled that, it was last week. And as that came closer, I knew that with work, there was no way I could do it. There is a real commitment in terms of, you know, how much you're going to throw at it. It's a hard thing to do. I knew that I would have to do a lot more general exercise, train more, more kind of thinking about it and researching the various bits and pieces and just feeling that I was really ready. And just no way could I have done it. But in terms of the attitude change, I'm really happy. So yeah, I'm not upset that I didn't take it because it just didn't work with scheduling. But I really trained with it in mind, and that was a good thing. And I now am sort of intentionally saying I will take my second Dan. When I'm ready and the time is right, I will do it, rather than maybe. So yeah, that feels like a really good change. And worthy of note. And then number 6, my family related goal. I would like to explore more. So this is what I was hinting at earlier. So we do have a holiday planned for the spring, which will be amazing, but I'm thinking really about days out locally, further afield, you know, just opportunities to show the children the world. I'm really pleased with this one. I think we built some lovely memories this year. I specifically wanted to have more days out, and I think it's kind of post-COVID, wanting to have those experiences that we couldn't have. Like if we'd said, I'd love to take them here, obviously for a long time we couldn't. So I sort of felt ready in terms of like psychologically post-COVID to, you know, book things and have like lovely big days out, but also to have the means to do that. And I'm very aware when I talk about these things that we are in a cost of living crisis and that it's not always achievable. We've certainly had times when it's not been achievable for us to do certain things with our family. For us, it wasn't about the scale of the thing, it was about the kind of spending the time together, building the memories, and doing stuff that, you know, the kind of things we God love to do that, you know, and, you know, making time for that and booking things in so that we had those lovely things to look forward to as a family. Some of those things were all together and some of them we sort of split up. So we all went on a family holiday to Portugal earlier in the year. We're often visiting family or travelling with family, and not that we're not extremely grateful for that opportunity. We wanted to do something that we had picked and that was like a unique experience for us, if that makes any sense. So that was really important to us as a family, to sort of pick a place, go somewhere that we hadn't been, explore. Yeah, it was just like a bog standard family, like European holiday. It was nice. Yeah. We also had some days out, so we all went to Chessington in the summer for my son's birthday. So we've also intentionally tried to have like experiences for like birthdays, and like instead of gifts or instead of parties, like to try and have something that we do together, or like the larger family do together. And we also went away with Stuart's parents. We had a night at Port Lim that they you know, we did, as it was for their anniversary, I think, or was it? It's terrible, I can't remember. It was either for their anniversary or it's for my sister-in-law's 40th birthday, possibly both. I am right now unclear on which it was booked for. Anyway, it was for a big celebration. So we all went away as like a wide family. I took my daughters with my mum to go and see The Lion King, and I purposefully chose seats that meant that the animals would go past us. So, you know, just to try and make it a bit extra special. We met my brother for lunch and had like a lovely day out. I took my youngest to her first proper panto at the Marlow Theatre last week, so that was really nice. Took my eldest daughter to the ballet right at the beginning of the year. So if they're interested in something and they want to do it, we've tried to prioritise booking those things in and making the time, because we'd rather do that than like go on a night out, you know, or we just really wanted to make sure that that was a priority for us, that we had those like days out and that we made sure that we had the means and the time to do it, because for us that's something that's really important. So yeah, and I really do know how lucky we are that we were able to do these things. Like obviously there have been times when, you know, we haven't had the means to do it, or we haven't had the time to do it, or we've had kids that are too young, or whatever it might be. And I think there are always circumstances, and just now for lots of people the financial situation is really, really hard. For us, you know, we've just tried to prioritise and like book in what we can manage. So yeah, I know it's different for everybody, and I really do recognise how lucky we are that we were able to do those things, and we wanted to make that a priority this year. So I'm really glad that we did that, and it's something that we will make time for going forward, that if there's a particular show we want to see, or like a music thing we want to go to, or particular like museum that we want to go to, whatever it might be, like a family experience, that if the kids are saying there's something that they would love to do, then we'll try to make that happen. So yeah, I'm glad that we did it, and we will continue to do that. And as I say, I just appreciate that we are super lucky that we were able to do those things this year. I'm now going to set my goals for 2024. I'm going to do the same kind of categories. So here goes. The first one I am going to keep exactly the same. So again, for 2024, I'm going to hope to make £5,000. I did think about setting something more aspirational, but I am aware that I am shortly going to be ordering a vast number of books, literally in a couple of weeks' time. And so although I have an idea of the income that I'm expecting, and I'm also making some changes to, you know, improve things within my business, I am aware that I'm going to be investing in a lot of stock. So 5,000 still feels like the right number for me. If it's more, amazing, but yeah, I'm gonna stick it there. £5,000 for next year. Number 2 is to do with the way that I work, and I'm really happy about the changes that I made last year in terms of my creative productivity, and I will continue those work practices once the dust settles from the current book project. And I thought about what I would like to change in terms of like my day-to-day working, and I think really it's for my workload to be less lumpy. I go through periods of time where I am so swamped in stuff, and then I'll have a few weeks where I'm really not all that busy, and it would be lovely to just have a more steady workflow. I think the secret to that is partially the balance with teaching, because a couple of times that's gone out of balance this year, while also thinking about the way that stuff is scheduled in and the amount of planning. So if there's a lot of planning in place and a lot of scheduling in place, hopefully that means I can maintain a more steady rate. So for instance, the next Natural England book, we are planning to put a lot of sort of meetings in place at the start and a lot of planning before we start creating, so that the creating will hopefully be a smoother process, if that makes sense. Other things as well, like any project or any period of time, like planning for a book launch or planning for World Book Week, I want to have plans in place so I can just sort of gradually work my way up to it, rather than everything feeling a little bit out of control. Because I'm balancing lots of things, that's part of why that happens. But if I can steady things a little bit, that would be really, really great. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to set a goal to just try and have a steadier workload rather than this kind of up and down, because that can be really stressful. And what I don't like is when things are really intense and then that means that I'm not fully present with my family because I'm so sort of anxious or just in my head about what I'm doing work-wise. So yeah, I can foresee the way the year is already looking that this could be achievable, but that's definitely something I'm going to have in mind, of just trying to have things better planned and better organised in terms of like how the work is like set out. So yeah, less lumpy workload for number 2. Number 3, in terms of writing goals, I want to have my novel in a I don't know how to phrase this. I'm going to say final draft, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like final, like having been proofread and totally ready, but I want to be in a state where I am ready to start the publishing process. I didn't want to make this goal that I had published it, because I know what work I would like to put into that, and I don't think that's going to work within the time frame. If it happens, wonderful. But I can see more that I rework the novel, that I work with betas, that I work with developmental editors, and I get it into a really good shape so that by this time next year, I'm feeling that it's publishable and I can start putting those wheels in motion. So, like I said, not final as in like it's typeset and proofread and ready to go and there's like it's perfect, but just like the story's there, I'm happy with the writing, and let's go. Sorry, my memory card ran out. Yeah, I want the book to be, by and large, done. Number 4, a reading type goal. I want to keep it the same. I just want to read books that are helpful. So non-fiction, business, science, any of that stuff, like books that improve my knowledge, you know, just in general. It doesn't even have to be for my business, but just, I like learning. So that's what I want to carry on with. I don't want to set a number goal. I just want to read books that in some way make me a better person. I don't think knowing things makes you a better person. Read books that help me. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 5, I want to attempt my second Dan. The wheels are in motion for this one. I don't know if I'll do it in the spring or the summer. probably the summer, but I'm having lots of conversations with another lady who's also planning to go for her second Dan, with our sensei about, you know, how best to tackle this, what we need to do. Yeah, and I really do feel like I'm ready to make that commitment. I just need to sort of see when the grading is and schedule that in. So yeah, I'm going to do it this year. And the last one, so a family-based one, I'm going to change it slightly. I would like to have more days out with my husband and more like date nights. So we've done a few this year, not as many as we have done in previous years. I think, so this year we both turned 40, and so I'd really like to have some sort of, you know, nice like dates and nights out and time just us, because we do so much for the family and for work that, and I think it does us so much good to be just the two of us. And we often go out sort of separately because the other one looks after the kids. So I think the two of us doing stuff together, that would be really, really nice. And that's it. That's my goals for 2024. I would love to know what goals you have and also how you got on in 2023. So let me know in the comments. Please do hit like if you enjoyed this. And don't forget to subscribe for more to find out how I get on with all of this. I hope you have a lovely Christmas and a happy new year as well. So see you soon for my next one. Take care.